What's up, everyone? Elliott here from Entree Educator with another video to help educators become successful entrepreneurs. Today, I'm going to be interviewing Jess Goslin, who lives in Taiwan and has recently come out with a book. And I've got the title right here. It is called Becoming a Successful International Teacher, a concise step-by-step guide to international teaching. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, I've spent quite a lot of years teaching abroad. And so I first wanted to get into this about international teaching, about how to get a book published, because I really think that everyone has a book within them. And I wanted to talk with someone who just did it. So, Jess, you're on the line. Can you introduce yourself? Tell everyone what you do and where you are.
Sure, I'm in Taipei right now. So I've taught internationally for about 10 years. I started as an EAL teacher in Japan. Then I traveled back to the UK to train professionally to become a teacher and get my QTS. So after that, I moved to Egypt and then Vietnam, and then finally to Taiwan to teach here. Yeah, so currently I'm an international teacher in a school in Taipei. Yeah, reception teacher.
Awesome. How did you choose Taiwan?
Well, we have a daughter, so I really did love Vietnam as in a couple basically, because there's lots of bars and restaurants and kind of grown-up things to do. So it was great for that time of my life. But after I had my daughter there, and I was lucky to take some time out and raise her, we kind of realized that there wasn't any opportunities for her outside. Because it was just so hot and there weren't parks or playgrounds and things like that that she could enjoy. So we decided we'd try to go somewhere where there was a bit more nature. So we took a holiday over to Taipei because it's really quite close, about 2 hours flight, very easy to travel. And we hired a car, and then we were just smitten by the whole place. We loved the scenery, we loved all the options of things to do. We really like being on an island, the fact there's beaches like within an hour's drive. And we're also very, very fortunate to visit the school. We kind of coincided that, which is something I always recommended. So we went around the school, we met the deputy and the head at the time, and we had really great conversations with them. So we kind of knew what we were getting ourselves into before we came. So yeah, that's how Taiwan happened, to be honest. We weren't really sure about it prior to coming and visiting it, because when we lived in Japan in our 20s, we had done a stop en route, but that had been about 15 years previous, and it was a very different place. So it was really, really eye-opening and good to go visit the country we were going to move to, basically. And yeah, it cemented our resolve to come and move here.
That is really cool. Let's talk a little bit about the book. Can you briefly introduce the book, what it's about, who it's for, and what made you write it?
Okay, I might do it the other way around.
Sure.
The reason I wanted to write it was because when myself and my partner at the time were in the UK, we had a very, very tough time in the system there. We were in quite challenging schools, but we also felt the workload was extremely demanding for new teachers. We were working in the evenings, we were working at the weekends, and we couldn't really envisage our life like that. Like we loved teaching, but we didn't want to be working that way the rest of our lives. So as we'd already been in Japan, it was obviously quite a big choice for us to consider teaching overseas. But at that time also, because we were on the lowest pay scale for teachers in the UK, which was around at that time about £21,000, so about $25,000 each. And then we were taxed and we were insured on top. We had no money at all. We didn't have a TV license. We didn't have a TV. We didn't ever go out anywhere. A treat was getting a sandwich in a cafe, rarely. So we were really living with no money and struggling. So the kind of idea behind this book and how it's priced is that it will be affordable for people who want to consider, just have a look, have a think about going abroad. They don't have to put a lot of money into something to decide, to help them make that decision. So that was important to me, not to have a really high price point. So it's aimed at kind of people in their mid-20s to 40s, roughly. That some people do start teaching later, like we did. So it's kind of aimed at new teachers or teachers who have been there a few years, are getting burnt out and want to move on. But like I kind of want to save those teachers and tell them, no, there is an alternative career. And for us, myself, and he did become my husband and he moved out with me here. It's just been the career of a lifetime. And I think after, I'd probably say by our second placement, we were just completely sure we wouldn't be going back to the UK. We had a shaky period when we had our daughter, because obviously, like, you worry about your child being around family and things, but we really find that you can just build amazing networks when you're abroad, as I'm sure you felt as well. Really, really close networks. So
Absolutely.
the idea behind the book was really just to help people on that journey. I have a blog and I had a website, so I was sort of writing anyway and filtering some bits towards that. And then as the writing grew, and it got beyond 30, 40, 50, 60 pages, I started to think then maybe I could actually make a text out of it. And then, being a bit of a perfectionist, as teachers are, I suddenly thought, well, it's not just my opinion I really want to put in this book, because I do obviously have a very one-sided opinion on how my experience has been. So I started sharing the book around other teachers and colleagues, some friends that are heads, and also recruiters as well, to just get other insight and other opinions on what I was writing, and also just to have some validation that they felt the same as I did. So that made the project even bigger, and the time scale much longer, because I was waiting for the chapters to come back before I could start the next one. But it was a great experience. It's taken me probably just under a year now, I think, all in all. But yeah, the main focus for it really is to just get a guide out there that tells you very, very practically, without theory, without any academic references, just what to do, how to get the job, how to succeed in an interview, how to prepare to leave, because I had no clue what to do. And it kind of involved me going home and sorting out loads of stuff on that second and third trip home, like things like bank accounts and I don't know, like tax and things like that. Also, once you're out there, how to make a community and how to really thrive and enjoy your time there. It is like entirely practical, and it doesn't focus on pedagogy or anything like that. It just focuses on really making sure you don't go out there and you didn't really know anything about it and you realize once you're out there that you don't want to be there.
Right.
So I hope it's a bit of a fail-safe way, almost. I can't guarantee, obviously, but at least preparing yourself for what a life overseas teaching is like.
Wow, my first overseas post was in Vietnam. I spent a year in Ho Chi Minh City, and a book like
Mm,
that would have been, a path to follow would have been so nice, because I just went with no idea, and
yeah.
I could see, recent graduates, especially of college, just really that would be a good resource for them. Okay, let's talk about
Mm,
getting the book published. You went to Amazon. Now
mm,
someone can have a digital and a physical copy. And can you tell us about
mm,
that process for anyone who thinks, you know what, I have a book in me too, and I want to get it
yeah.
published. I want to put it on Amazon. Walk us through the steps. How do we do it?
The Amazon part is easy, so that's good news. And also I found the writing part quite easy. I had a brilliant editor, so I really recommend get an editor. She's also a trailing spouse to a teacher, so she had an awful lot of experience to add in as well. She'd been to multiple countries, so she was just invaluable. So the next series after it was all written in Word, has to go to formatting. Now that was more challenging because I hadn't really realized that, because I was using a company, they're called Fiverr. I don't know if you've heard of them,
Mhm,
kind of like an agency for freelancers.
mhm.
And the expectation there is that everything is completely ready to go when you send it to formatting. Whilst in a publishing house, often it goes to formatting, then it's rechecked and rechecked and rechecked. So I hadn't realized that, so I sent it to formatting, and we had a few discussions, and he got a very good tip in the end, so it worked out okay. But the formatting took maybe a month, just sending it backwards and forwards to him, just because I really wanted it to look good, and that was really, really high priority for me. So that was something I hadn't foreseen. Also, the book cover as well. I had quite a clear idea what I wanted it to look like. I wanted it to look like a good product, and I wanted it really to reflect international teaching. So I did quite a lot of research across Facebook forums. There's quite a few, thankfully, publishing sites you can put up your idea and people give you views on it. And
Mhm.
it was actually on one of those that somebody did say to me, how about teachers teaching and then like a background of a global scene. And I thought, oh, sounds really, really good. So I did get the idea from someone else, which was brilliant. So the cover and the formatting was all finished. Amazon was very easy. I just had to put in my details, credit card details, and then my address, some keywords for the book. So if it's searched, obviously it will be found. A top tip for that, I was found out you're given 7 boxes, but you can actually fit about 10 words in each box. So you can get more like 70 keywords in there.
Oh,
Again, I found that through Facebook sites. Yeah, just by researching it, people are very, very helpful with their ideas. So I put that in, and then I added the print copy, a blurb, obviously, which I gave to my editor to help me just jig it up, make it look a little bit better, and also some quotes. So at that point, I'd probably had about 10 readers, like different international teachers, and they had provided me with quotes. So I kind of chose the best ones that I thought would work, put those in, and then hit publish. Basically, it was the print copy was very easy to get on, very quick. But then, yeah, then I decided obviously we need the ebook version as well, and I thought that would be very quick and easy. But again, I had to check just for formatting issues and things with that. There's certain things that you can do on the print copy that don't quite cross over to the ebook copy, such as drop caps and some of the more fancy kind of headings and things. So I had to work with the formatter to change some of those, which he did, which was great, and I think it looks good now. So it took about another 4 or 5 days to get the ebook ready and get it on. And then it was just, just relief once it was on after that. But I say Amazon's, it's called KDP Select. It's very, very easy to put everything on. I've heard it's one of the most simple, as long as you've already got the PDF or the ebook to put on, or the cover. I found it just like literally took me about 20 minutes. It's really not difficult.
that is awesome. So tell us more about the physical book side. Is it someone
Mm.
purchases the book and then it's print on demand and Amazon takes care of all of that and then also ships it out? Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. So it's really, really easy. For example, it was, I think, published on about the 13th of July, and then my mum-in-law had one on the 17th of July, and she's holding it up and looking really. She's the first person in the world to own the book, so she was very happy.
Oh,
And it looked brilliant. So it's literally that easy. I mean, they're a huge company, aren't they? I mean, unfortunately for me, because I have to order from the US because there isn't one in Taiwan. Um, it's going to take much longer for me to get my copy. So, and you can also order, and this is great, author copies. So you basically pay the fee just to make the book, which is around $2.50, and the shipping. So if I was to buy maybe a bulk of them and want to sell them over in Taiwan, I could do that, and still probably make a little bit of profit from it.
gotcha. So, Jess, I'm guessing, is it the way, like, if someone purchases a digital copy, you must make
Mm.
more than if someone purchases a physical copy because if unless they're a different price. Can you talk a little bit about the
Yeah,
percentages that you make and like the
yeah.
numbers, things like that with Amazon?
Yeah. So with Amazon, yeah, of course, you have to pay around, it depends on each country, but it's at least $2.50 per copy. So yeah, I make a lot less, not very much at all, on the hard copy. But to me, that was important because I didn't want to price it out of people's price band. So I'm not so worried about that. For me, I wanted to try and show, I didn't want to undervalue myself, making it really, really low. And I didn't want to obviously overvalue because I want people to be able to afford it. So I try to do somewhere that I think is quite reasonable. If I was looking for a book, I would pay around $9 or $10 for a non-fiction book that would guide me. So that's how I set it. So yeah, the margins are much better for ebooks, fortunately. So currently, also, which is another thing you have to think about, because the print book, I guess, is printed or linked to the US, I have to pay 30% tax also on the print copy. So whilst the revenue for ebook is 70%, the revenue for print book is 40%. So there's that disparity as well. So yeah, I don't. It's obviously lovely if I sell lots of ebooks, obviously, but I'm happy for either, because as long as they're out there and people are using them, like I'd love eventually for them to maybe get into careers offices or universities, or just to show people there are other ways to go with teaching. Because to be honest, I think when I was young, certainly a teenager, if I'd thought about being a teacher, I would only have imagined it in the UK. So
Right, of
I
course.
think it's
I
really
mean,
important that, yeah,
same here.
people see other avenues. Mm,
Absolutely. Just talking with you, Jess, I've never talked with someone who has published anything on Amazon, and the way how you mentioned how kind of easy the process was, it's so inspiring because I so believe that everyone could write a book about something, And
yeah.
it's so cool. So, let's end it with, if a year ago, if before you started the whole process
Mm,
of getting it published, and you wanted to give a writer some type of tips looking back, what did you learn that you could share with
mm.
the Entree Educator group that you would like to tell all of us?
Yeah, I would say the one that I learned was get a really good editor, and that really happened per chance because she's a close friend too, and I just discussed the project with her. So I was lucky there. That happened pure by chance, but I would definitely say she really directed me in lots of ways. She encouraged me to write an extra chapter I really didn't feel like writing. So she was really good, and she also made me feel that I had to keep writing even when I got really tired of it and I wanted a break and it was a hard time in the term. So that was really, really useful. My second thing is make sure you get people who will read for you, like beta readers kind of thing. So they need to be in your area too. Like you won't be using your sister and your mum. You need to use people who are linked to like international teachers, basically. So I kind of came upon that idea probably after just at the end of chapter 1, chapter 2, so I could still sort of catch up and send them out. But people prefer to get them in small chunks, so you don't want to be waiting to the end of the book and then send people your whole book. I was lucky I had some colleagues who did read the whole book in its entirety and they wanted to do that. But I don't think you can really expect many people to really want to do that unless you have a great band of people around you. So I would say as you're growing the book, try to do it chapter by chapter, because then they may even give you more insight. Like I don't really like how you use this particular, I don't, just silly things like bullet points, or I didn't think it's useful how, they can give you advice on so many different parts of even just laying out the book. And like there in my acknowledgements, there's a whole page of them. And that's not even everybody. I didn't name, not every single person wants to be named in a book, but I really think it's a co-effort. It's not just all my work. So I was really, really grateful to those people that helped. So yeah, get a good editor and definitely get people around you that will check each chapter for you.
That's so awesome. Jess, for anyone who wants to find you on the internet, you said that you're writing a blog. Where can we find you?
My blog it's www.jessgoslingearlyyearsteacher.com. So everything's on there. I also have a Facebook group. So if you're thinking about becoming an international teacher and you just want to be in a small group where everybody's friendly and they're not judgmental, my group's called New to International Schools Teacher. So you can search that one up. I also tweet quite a lot. I'm Jess Gosling too. So if you can only remember one thing, maybe tweet Jess Gosling too, because the other ones are quite long, I know. And I'm really happy to make friends with international teachers across any platform. I think the only way to really, I don't know, to keep us all going is really all to stick together and make a really great community. So yeah, I appreciate you interviewing me for this, particularly for that as well.
Absolutely. Again, congratulations. Go check out Jess's book, and especially if you're a teacher and you've never taught abroad, it's the coolest thing in the world. I just love it so much, and obviously you do too, Jess. Thank you so much for your
Yeah,
time, and I really appreciate it.
thank you. Thank you very much, Elliot.